Actually what we would call now an animation director. Dave Fleischer was in overall charge of the cartoons, supervised the work of the animation directors, was very much involved in the recording sessions. But the day-to-day work of doing the layouts for the cartoons, supervising the work of the animators, handing out work to members of a group of animators, this is what was done by the animation directors. And Willard Bowski was one of those people for quite a few years in the 30s. Bowski had an interesting history. He was born in 1907 in New Jersey. And when World War II began, he enlisted in the Army in 1942 at the age of 35. Certainly would not have been drafted otherwise. Most people in animation in those days who went into the armed forces wound up, if they went at all, frequently they were exempted because they were working on military training films at the studios. Other people went in the military and worked in animation studios like the one out in Hollywood called Fort Roach, first motion picture unit of the Army Air Force. But Bowski actually went into combat service and was killed in action in France in 1944. It's hard to think of any other people in animation who were active in animation in the 30s who died in combat. I'm sure there were others, but he was certainly the most prominent. One of the animators in his unit around the time this cartoon was made was released in November 1938, and so it would have been made earlier that year. One of the animators in his unit around that time was Gordon Sheehan. And I talked with Gordon Sheehan some years ago about what was involved in working as an animator in Willard Bowski's unit, and here's a little bit of that interview.
I know when we got a script in at the beginning of a picture, we'd storyboard it, and it would be pinned up on the wall, and the whole department, which would be perhaps 6 or 7 fellows, would go through the whole story. The director would act out the whole thing, and then ask for comments. Willard Bowski was a great one for trying to add to stories, make them funnier, make them more interesting. As a consequence, I think that he turned out the best pictures that Fleischer made. And so the whole group was given a chance to add to the picture and add a little gag here and a little extra something here, so that we ended up with a better script than we had originally.
Now look at all them other people having fun. Follow me, I'll show you. Hey, somebody turned out the lights. Hey, wait, look, I can't see where you're going. Look. That's pretty good, Olive, but you gotta keep it up. Now watch me. Here we go.
If you've looked at some of the earlier Popeye cartoons, you may notice that the animation here is starting to look a little more realistic, a little more natural there than when Popeye was skating earlier. It's not the kind of, you want to say, mechanical sounds like, it sounds a little derogatory, which isn't what I mean, but there's earlier Fleischer cartoons, there's much more of a sense of finding sort of abstract patterns of movement and the way characters move. They're not really trying to look realistic at all. There's more of a sense here of, well, this is how people like Popeye would actually move if they were out roller skating.
A little higher, everything's under control, Olive. I got you covered.
There's nothing realistic about what happens now when Olive goes skating through town. And here you do have a lot of the Fleischer facility with the intricate mechanical movement. All this swooping and looping through town is the sort of thing that they were exceptionally good at. But what you're seeing here is the kind of change that took place in animation generally in the 30s under the weight of the example of the Disney cartoons and of other studios that were more or less successfully imitating the Disney cartoons and achieving more realistic movement of the characters. This was not the natural bent of the Fleischers. I mean, some of the times they did it quite well, other times it was more uncomfortable for them. The best parts of these later cartoons tend to be this sort of elaborate, intricate movement that you're seeing here as Olive goes hurtling around.
tell me I left at home. I always had it in every other picture this way. Is there any spinach in the house?
Here's Popeye. I can't recall off the top of my head who actually introduced this sort of shadow on the screen gag. Certainly Tex Avery at Warner Brothers used it very inventively. But it was, of course, it has an impact on the theater that you can't get on television. But sometimes there could be extremely elaborate changes worked on this whole idea of interaction between the character on the screen and the people in the audience. Characters threatening the people in the audience not to tell something and so forth. Here it's just a way of giving a new twist to the whole idea of Popeye and his addiction to spinach. By this time, Olive Oil's voice was provided by Mae Questel, who was originally the voice of Betty Boop. Mae Questel was an actress. She appeared on screen as Aunt Bluebell when selling Scott towels back in the 60s and 70s. And she was Woody Allen's mother in a segment of the film called New York Stories. She even provided Popeye's voice at one point during World War II.
My heart's palpitating whenever I'm skating with Popeye.